Good evening, folks. Thank you for coming to another exciting episode of YOML. Today we have a brand new book for you. It's actually Reflection 187, and we're talking about something that I think both of me and Chris is something that I think it's close to what we have at core or core values is concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be a fun conversation because this is a very central theme of Clubany in general. The book that we're going to be talking about today, book 187, is The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. The Secrets of Highly Successful Groups. It was a good book, actually. I really like this book. I actually learned a lot from it, and I really enjoyed this one. By the way, everyone, if anybody ever wants to check out our meetup group, we have Clubany on Meetup, and we host a couple events. One of them is our anti-book club, if you ever are seeing this. So our anti-book club is where you can pop on and talk about the books that you're reading and what you're learning, and you can share amongst all these people. And supposedly there's 13 people coming, to our next, group meeting here. But we shall see. But you are all welcome to come. I just happen to have that up. Figured I'd pitch it. So the reflection title for today is "Culture is Not a Strategy." And I know you're probably thinking, wait, I thought culture was the strategy, and no, I changed my mind. Culture is not a strategy. So, and here's why. This book, like I said, it's called The Culture Code. It's like dissecting like highly successful groups, people like the Navy SEALs, San Antonio Spurs, the Upright Citizens Brigade, Zappos, just really successful, highly functional and cohesive cultures. This guy went and really dug deep with them and got deep into what they do and understood how they operate and their culture code, the underlying code of that. And then he summarized it into the general themes that he sees in really highly successful groups and how to potentially think about creating and fostering that kind of environment you want to build. So for me and for you, I know a culture is everything, right? Like there's a few things that we've identified on this journey that are true human superpowers, in my opinion. One of those being imagination, that we've talked about many times over the course of this entire journey. And the other one is, in my opinion, culture. Culture is not what you think of, in my opinion, when we talk about culture, like in terms of art and the opera and ballet or something like that. Like culture is just the connecting of an idea to a group of people that have shared values and norms, and they decide to go do some stuff together, right? Like that could be anything. Culture literally could be anything that brings people together, that goes beyond themselves and beyond just a single person, and they can have a shared vision and purpose and mission together. That is, in my opinion, what culture is. That's what separates humanity, I think, from pretty much the rest of the animal herd, the mammals in this world, because nobody else has the ability to take an abstracted idea, get it into somebody else's head, unite around it, and then go do great things together. It just doesn't exist in the animal kingdom, to my knowledge, for beyond what we're able to do. I mean, yes, there's like small packs of animals that can probably connect and unite around, I don't know, a particular plot of land or herd, I don't know, whatever, like a lion pride or something like that, you know what I mean, when it comes to spreading that far and wide and be able to have people understand what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build and connect to that and want to participate in that. Like that's unique to humanity, in my opinion, and that's what we call culture. So the culture code is all about unlocking that. Now, you and I, we've talked about this over the past 3 years as to how strong culture is and how much we value culture in general, that we actually started our organization around the idea that culture is the strategy, right? Like we didn't really care about the what we were going to produce. We knew that if you build a really strong culture, what we connect out of that in the future will be great. But like really we wanted to start always with the culture and maintain that culture, foster that culture, and grow that culture in general and spread that to people, as many people as we could, to help them to find balance and find purpose in their own lives and to live a life of values. That was what we started Clubany for, and that's what we're still doing this stuff for today. So we deeply understand, I think at this point in time, the power of culture. Culture is a really, really powerful tool. It is something that is probably our most powerful weapon that we have, that we can unleash on anything in this world. And I personally have seen the power of culture firsthand. I work in the high-tech industry. If anybody knows anything about that world, think of the Facebooks, the Googles, the Amazons, the Metas, the Twilios, the Salesforces, the whatever, like that world. That world has, in the past 25, 30 years, really latched on to the idea that culture is their vehicle to accelerate these massive companies that have started from zero, literally nothing in a garage, like an Apple or something like that, and turned it into these monstrosities that dominate the world and have hundreds of thousands of people in their cultures. And they used culture to their advantage. They've figured this out, that if you can connect people around a shared purpose and values, and they willingly agree to enter into that culture together, you can do some pretty incredible things really, really fast. This has been learned over time for all of ages in humanity, but business in particular has really taken this and put gasoline on it and lit it to the extreme. I've lived this multiple times in my career now, where I've seen cultures firsthand that are unreal powerful. I mean, like, where you just get sucked into it and you're just like you feel like everybody's your best friend. You feel like you're connected to a mission and a purpose. You feel like, it's all one big family. Like, hell, I worked at Salesforce and they call it the Ohana, literally, like Hawaiian for family. Like, everybody's like, it's the Ohana. It's all of our shared values. It's whatever. And it works. Like, these companies blitz scale from 0 to $1 billion valuations and seemingly overnight, right? And never before, in my opinion, in human history, has there ever been a time period where we've seen such powerful cultures rise out of nowhere and then also at the same time disappear faster than ever, because that's not how culture is supposed to work, right? Culture is not supposed to be something that is a fire is lit under it and then it flames out like a shooting star, and disappears anyway over time, which is why I get to my lesson of the reflection is culture is not a strategy. Business has tried to harness it as a strategy to get to a profitability, but culture is smarter than money, right? And here's why. Like, culture always knows what's at its core from the get-go. Like, if its core is actually built on money and growth, which is really what these businesses are doing, they're harnessing these cultures so they can grow their businesses a lot faster and grow their revenue a lot faster. Culture isn't fooled. Culture isn't stupid. Culture is probably the most smart, human thing that's ever been invented, I guess, if you will, throughout the course of humanity. If at the core of any culture is not something that's pure at its core, truly everybody's connected to that, and why you started that culture isn't pure, it'll ultimately blow up in your face. And that's why I'm saying that it's not a strategy. Culture is what it is, exactly. And it needs to be respected, it needs to be understood, and it needs to be entered into mutually with the entity itself, and to say, like, look, you and I, we're stewards of our culture that we're trying to build. We are not here to try to accelerate this thing for personal growth or money or profit or whatever. We truly believe in something, and we want to find other people and invite other people into that culture. We are taking our time to help foster and grow and understand this culture and to help build it up the way that it's supposed to be built up, not like gasoline on it so we can go make more money and then walk away as it flames out, never to be heard from ever again. Like, that's not how culture is supposed to work. Cultures that are legit and good and that last are supposed to be like the Catholic Church that lasts forever. Nobody can tell you what to do. It was started with pure intentions. It's why it's still there. I'm sure it'll still be there for a really long time to come. Is it always going to be perfect? Of course not. Like, every culture needs to grow and develop. But anyway, I'll pause there. The reflection title is a revelation of my own where, culture is not a strategy. Culture is the most powerful thing that humanity can do. It is not a strategy to get you to some outcome. It is humanity at its finest, like, it's not some vehicle to take you to where you want to go. It is meaningful work and meaningful relationships. It's connection. It's everything, right? Like, respect it. That's all. Anyway, I'll pause there. Love to get your thoughts.
Right. I mean, I think from the perspective of culture is not a thing you use. It's who you are.
Yes.
And in I dare say this, if you don't have a culture, you don't have a meaningful relationships,
Agreed.
right? Because if I tell you something, if I curse at you in a language that you don't understand, do you get mad? How could you?
Well, I guess your body language maybe, or like, if I
I'm
can
just
see the
saying
anger in your
you
eyes.
don't
Right.
understand. I
No.
mean, even if you see the anger, you can look at me silly, saying, "This guy is he's a clown. He's loony."
Yep.
I mean, you don't understand. And the point is, the culture is basically a shared understanding. Whatever it is a shared understanding of one another. You and I speak in a language that we understand. We also speak in an idea that we understand. We were just talking about the ideas of building immunity right before this. We both have an understanding of what that means. and you and I can talk at great length, and it rile us up emotionally because you and I understand what we mean when we say something in along that terms, versus for me talking to another person who don't see the same thing, they don't see the same pieces of an object that I am looking at, then there's nothing for us to share. There's no culture, there's no relationship, there's no
Right.
connectedness. And I think having a culture is that the more understanding you have of the shared common ideas and languages, the stronger the culture is. And
Yeah.
to me, looking at the cultures of Google, Microsoft, and all that, these to me are weak cultures. There are cultures, but they're weak
Oh
cultures.
no, they're very strong. They're just built
Well,
on
not
no
strong, not
foundation. Yeah.
no, not as strong as the one that I've seen. Like you can look at the Catholic Church, strong culture.
Oh
Look
yeah, yeah.
at look at the Marine Corps, the strong culture. Okay,
Mhm.
because Marine Corps has been like in existence for almost 300 years old. And the Marine, once you become a Marine, you will understand why your brother is like you and you are your brother. You would sacrifice yourself for your brother, right?
Right.
To me, that's culture, right? Because you talk about the Naval SEAL, you're talking about San Antonio Spurs. I mean, to me, that's nothing compared to the Marine, the Catholic Church, because they live it, they breathe it, and they share it, right? They will protect you with their life, right? They protect you with their life and they will trust their life to you. And that's code of a Marine. Even if you die, they will risk their life to get your body home. You think the Google guy will do that for you? The Google guy will say, "Hey, okay, since we don't need your job anymore, let me give you half my salary." No
No.
fucking way. Okay, so
No.
to me, Google is a culture, and I applaud that. But comparing to the real culture I see, that's what I mean. You look at the Marine Corps. I mean, I'm surprised that you don't mention the Marine Corps on these books, but Marine Corps to me is probably will have the strongest culture there is I've known. I don't know as much as Naval SEAL because Naval SEAL is very very secretive because they're supposed to be right,
Right.
and not a lot of people can share what they do and how they operate, and because they're also a few versus the whole battalions or the whole Marine Corps, right? It's a Marine Corps, the Corps
Right.
of Marines, right? Those are a lot of people, and every single one of them feels exactly the same way. Probably maybe there's some outliers out there, but 99.99% of all Marines feel the same way. And to me, that's a strong culture. And a strong culture is the only way for you to feel like you're doing something great. I
Yep.
remember myself in my time at Texas A&M. I belong part of the Aggies. Regardless of how you see the Aggies from the outside, whether they're bum, they're stupid, or whatever, right? I could care less what people say. I'm
Well, see,
proud to be an Aggie. And,
it,
and the thing is, because we share a belief and we understand, not only that we share, but we really understand it, a belief that we say, hey, this is who I am.
right.
This is who I am. I mean, you think about who you are. And the thing is, when you look at me and another Aggie, you don't really see the difference. If you can get to that point, then you have built a strong culture. And one of the revelation that I have in terms of how do you build a strong culture is you have to create the intentions of what you are like, because the thing is
Yeah.
the Marine, they will tell you, this is who I am, this is how a Marine acts, and they will tell you, they will let you know the idea. They won't say, well, oh, you go read some corporate handbook. They even have songs for it. They even have like hymns for it. Like, they
Right.
do this chant, right? So you have to let people know your idea and you have to live it and you have to profess it. You have to live the things that you believe. If you do that, right, people know. And when they know and they can understand, when they understand, they have that connection with you. Because to me, Google do have some of these things, but they don't train you enough because let's say they bring you in and they spend like 15% of all the time training you on culture. And the 85% of the time they want you to make money versus like let's say somebody who doesn't have a culture, they didn't even get a handbook with a these are the belief of our company, right? So yes, from a 0 to a 15% effort, It's tremendously big gap. But if you go from a 15% to like a 95, 90%, this is all you do. You have the most cohesive team, whether large or small, it doesn't matter because like you look at Marine itself, it's a fractal, right? You're talking about a whole corps of Marine. You're talking about a battalion of Marine. You're talking about a company of Marine. You're talking about a squad of Marine. You're talking about a few good men, 3 guys. They behave in the same way as the big kahuna. They operate the same way. The smaller one operates the exact same way. And small. Even the 3 guys in one, they can operate in the same exact fashion as the whole corps of Marine itself.
That's the
And
power
to
of culture. I
me,
mean, when you can connect the
that
dots from top to bottom,
and
everybody
to me that is
understands. And
that's not something you say, hey, I'm going. It is who you are, because
yeah,
if you belong to something like that, right? You feel like you are beavering on purpose. It makes you belong to, connected to something.
feels
And
like
as
purpose.
the DNA of human being, we have that DNA that needs to be connected with another human being. To me, that's
And,
why
and
people don't.
connect those two human beings to meaningful work together, like it's like to help each
Right.
other for whatever weird reason.
Well, it's not weird because that's the gene that was passed on.
Right.
So in order for you to fulfill it, you have to manifest that particular activities,
Yep.
right? Because that's what created us as this apex animal in all the kingdoms. We're the apex because we have the ability to unite. Because you're talking about like a massive swarm of bees, for example, right? It becomes so formidable that no one can touch by itself, right? It's a weakling.
So you see what you're talking about is spot on, obviously, and you see this across all the time in the non-business world. Like you're talking about the Marines, the other military, like Navy SEALs, religion, education, like things that at their core, at their starter, if you will, was pure, right? Like their intentions were pure. And business is where I'm kind of talking about where Clubany, where we want to take this to, is to try to take that same kind of pure starter, if you will, into that world, not for profits, but in the business world right now, they're screwed up. And this whole thing reminds me of Michael Pollan. He wrote this book called Cooked that I think we're going to talk about in the future. Or have I think we haven't talked about it. We'll talk about it here soon. One of the sections of the book, he talked about making sourdough bread. And he studied that with some of the best sourdough makers in San Francisco, the area that he lived in. What he learned was it's all about the starter yeast. It's all about finding the right spores and the right concoction of yeast and bacteria and whatever else is out there that's floating around in the air and wherever you live, San Francisco, which is why they make sourdough bread in San Francisco, and cultivating this starter, right? Like the starter is everything. You take a little piece of the starter when you go make every piece of bread, and you keep the starter happy and fed and good, on your shelf or whatever. And like there's a lot of people that are bread makers apparently that once they find that perfect starter, they can recreate their bread all the time. And they lose that starter, they freak out. They're like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do. He was freaking out the entire time he was writing this section of the book because something happened. He went out of town or something like that. And he was gone for too long. And by the time he came back, his starter had failed. And he had to restart his starter again. And he was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to make the same great tasting sourdough bread ever again. Anyway, the power of the starter is culture at its core, right? If that starter isn't done for the right reasons, doesn't have the right ingredients in it, it's going to be doomed from the get-go. And that's what's going on in the business world to me.
Yeah,
Are
I think
tainted.
that they don't focus on the right thing. Because
Exactly.
let me ask you this, like how, like what if you look at the Navy SEALs team, okay, when they are on a mission, what is the percent of success versus the percent of failures for the SEAL teams?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm
I
guessing
mean, you
good.
would guess the success rate is really high. It's super high.
I would
Okay,
think, yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? But the thing is, they don't focus on the mission itself. They more focus on the coach and the team.
Oh,
You look at
yeah.
the Marine, right? To me, the Marine is probably the most proficient part of the armed forces branch among all the armed forces branch. They're the most efficient. I mean that they are the strongest. They're the best. You want them to come rescue you,
Right.
okay? And the thing is, the Marine, they focus. So they're not like, for example, the thing you look at the Marine, like it's like, okay, does the Marine do any business? Yes, they do all kind of business because their job is to go do a mission, rescue. So they do a lot. The mission is what they do as a result. They focus on the camaraderie. They focus on perfection.
Right. They
I
focus on the
mean,
teamwork. They focus on
everything is has to be
relationships.
impeccable. I mean, you're
Right.
talking about like the uniform they wear. You go look at a Marine in his uniform. Try to find faults in his uniform.
Right.
There's no single crease on his uniform. His shoes are spotless. This is what they're doing. They're focused on perfection.
Right.
Everything perfection. That is their belief. You go look at any Marine, right? Like 99% of all Marines, their uniforms are impeccable, and they were told to do that.
Right.
That's what they focus on. So when they're focused on perfection, and you tell them to go and do this mission, what's the chances of them accomplishing that mission? It is very
A
high,
lot to
very
not.
high.
Right.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying if you're in trouble and you need the United States to come get you,
The SEAL
send
team.
them,
Yeah.
right?
Or the SEAL team. SEAL team is very similar as well.
Each team has specific skills depending
Right.
on, but the Marine is, I'm talking about the SEAL, because we're talking about a whole corp of Marines. It's a whole lot of people versus, I
They're
mean,
small
SEALs are
teams. Yeah.
very, very small, very
Right.
selective fields.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. When you look at like pound per pound, right? The Marine, because they have so many,
Right.
their culture, it's super strong. The SEAL team is strong too, but like I say, it's not like we can have a glimpse inside of the SEAL as much as we can glimpse inside of a Marine Corps.
Man, I hate to even say this because I still work in the Salesforce ecosystem, right? I think Salesforce is an amazing company. I got to preface that. I think they do amazing things for a lot of people. I think they're a value-driven organization. I think they have an amazing culture. I think their heart's in the right place in a lot of things that they do. But I also think it's all bullshit. And not just Salesforce, all of it, right? It's all built on
Right.
so much so that, just 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, Salesforce just had a pretty massive layoff. Like 8,000 people got kicked out of their culture. Can you imagine 8,000 people getting kicked out of the Marines?
That's the problem, because it's contradicting to the value. You say
It is.
Ohana my
It's
butt
my family.
when you lay off people, right? To me,
So
this is why I mentioned in the beginning, the Marine Corps, right? It's like 240, 250 years old, 300 years
yeah,
old,
once
right?
you're a Marine, you're always a Marine.
The culture is as strong as it was before.
Right.
How long does a company like Google or Apple or Salesforce gonna last? That's what I'm
Not
saying,
long.
because you are saying, hey, Ohana, sorry,
Got to fire you. We didn't turn a
we
profit
can't
for
pay
Wall
you,
Street
right?
this month.
I only make a couple $1 billion,
Yeah.
I didn't make $2 billion, so I can't afford you, so you gotta go.
Yep.
Ohana my butt. This is where I say, you're talking about the real culture of a
And it's
brand,
okay.
whatever.
Just say it's a money making. Say we're here for growth and we're here for profitability, but don't use the power of culture to get to be a vehicle to get to your money.
It becomes fake.
And then it becomes,
When it clashes, then it's
it's
to
not real. It's
unravel.
not pure. Right. It's
It's
not a real
unravel.
pure.
It's
Right.
not a pure culture of the brand
Right.
that you're talking about, right? It's about, are you upholding the standard
With the right intentions in mind. Like, you started wanting to make money. Like, it is okay to start a business. There's nothing wrong with wanting
and that's
to.
the reason why for me it's a pet peeve. For me, it's like, I don't care about whether or not you say, hey, this is what I do, right?
Right.
Don't label yourself as something else and expect me to
Right.
like
Don't lie.
interact with you in that manner. Just like the thing is, I have nothing against Patagonia. I have nothing against China. The only thing I'm against is, don't tell me something.
It's hypocritical. It's not real. Like,
I mean, if he write a book saying, I make money because it's how I do it, it's
I'm
that.
fine with that.
I say,
Yeah.
okay, great, dude. Yeah,
Right.
whatever. Yeah, you did something great. For me, if you say, hey, like I said, it's not about what you did. It's about the two-face that
Right.
I'm looking at. That's why culture break. If you do that, how can I believe you? And if I don't believe you, how can there be a connection? If there's no connection, how can there be a culture? So the culture unravels.
I wish I could take my memories in my head and implant it into anybody that ever wants to learn about culture. Like, I've seen this. I've seen families formed. I've seen marriages. I've seen children that come from these incredible cultures that literally, like, of my coworkers, where there's some of my lifelong friends that I've worked with and we feel like we've accomplished so much, and then they all get fired or they get acquired by another business, and all of a sudden that everything falls apart. They give people purpose, and that's what we all want in life, and then they take it away. Like, and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, you did this to get to an outcome, and then you just like poof, take it away from people. Like there is something in its essence that is so wrong with that, of giving people purpose and hope and meaningful relationships and meaningful work, and then just taking it away from them. Like it's like a game. It's a fucked up game that I cannot stand. Talk about counterculture. This is why you and I are doing what we're trying to do with Club Indie. Like we're not against
I mean, that's how
businesses making money.
that's a good way to collapse a culture.
It is.
To do that, to do just that, just yank it away, yank all the things that supposedly. Let's say you work at Angie's List and you have all this great team, just yank it away. The team.
We just talked about this with my friend April. We've talked about it many times. And Max Yoder wrote an amazing book that we talked about, with the Do Better work earlier on. He built an incredible culture. And, in 10 years time, whatever, when they started this to where they are, like so much so where there was 250 people that Max Yoder and his team, they would have done anything for each other. They had an amazing culture. He wrote a book about it. Like in that book, and their culture of the book that he wrote about is an incredible culture. I've heard firsthand from so many people how amazing it is to be in that culture and how much they loved it and wanted to see it live on forever. Unfortunately, he had to sell because he was VC backed, and they sold to their investors, went to another business. Only 1 year later, one of my best friends that worked there, she's like, I can't stand this place anymore. I can't be here. Like this is not what I signed up for. This isn't where I want to be. And now she went from having an incredible purpose-driven job, meaningful work, meaningful relationships, to the point in time where she's literally basically, out on the street going, I don't know where to go next with my life. Like, I don't know. I got to go. I want that back. I got to go find that again, and it's like, it's just beyond sad. Like, I mean, like when you find a home in the Catholic Church, or when you find a home in Texas A&M or the Marine Corps or whatever it is that allows you to be here on purpose, like you get to stay doing that if you want to. And in a worst case scenario, the principles of that culture go with you for forever. Like the people, like I think of Zach and Amber through Club Indie and the stuff that we've done with them, whether or not they ever actively participate in anything ever again, there will always be Club Indie members. And I know that they will carry through what they've learned, a lot of the stuff that we all did together, in that short period of time, and carry that through probably for forever. Like I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not going to say, yeah, your Club Indie member, your membership has been revoked. You're out of here. Like, you've been shunned. You know what I mean? Like right. It's like who the fuck are these people? Like, I mean, like for what? Because they didn't report, $5 billion worth of profit to Wall Street. They only reported $2 billion. Like, it's like, what the point of all this is? Culture is not a strategy. Culture is its own
way of life. Because you look at your friend, right? When she worked for Max Yoder, right? That's the time of her life that she feels like she is living. She feels great. The time that she's working with in this culture, she feels great. Her life is great.
Aligned.
Same thing for you, Chris. Think about the time you were at Angie's List.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was aligned.
You have a good, positive emotion during that time. Whatever you want to call that emotion, but I'm telling you that emotion is so positive that you want that to continue and come back when it's gone, right?
Just last Friday, I didn't go, but they had an Angie's List reunion party. Angie's List still exists, just so we're clear. The real Angie's List, the people that started that culture, the CEO, the former CEO that took it public and then eventually left the business. And anyway, that culture that started Angie's List, the one that I came from, they just had a reunion party on Friday. I didn't go personally because I just couldn't go. There was other shit going on in my life. But like, I'm seeing the photos in our AL or our Angie's List alumni group, thing, and seeing everybody, having a blast and reminding, the people that haven't seen each other for a decade, maybe, or something like that. And they're like, this feels like home. Like, my God,
you yearn
together?
For that feeling, right?
Right.
You yearn for that feeling. This is what I'm saying is when you have a culture, it feels like you're living on purpose. You yearn for that feeling.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. That is the important note here, right? It's not about this and that and the other. It's about once you have a culture that you and other people understand the belief that everyone sees the same thing, understood the same thing, and they will do anything for each other. That creates some kind of a heightened positive feeling in your experience. And when you don't have it anymore, you reminisce it, you want it, you yearn for it, you want it back.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even never get to another culture. The culture to me in our society, it's pretty rare. It's not like, it's everywhere. I mean, you go to, let's say you go to Salesforce. Once upon a time, it would have been a good culture, but because of the need to make money and to impress investors and whatnot,
Right.
they have deteriorate and become hollow inside. Because
Right.
whatever
Well,
they represent, like the
it's
Ohana to me, is not the same thing
it's
anymore.
a joke.
Because
Yeah,
the thing
it's a
is,
joke.
if they say, right, why not we're not the Ohana before, so be it. Say, hey, we're making money now, but don't the current Salesforce don't use the fucking word Ohana anymore,
Right.
and I'll be okay with it. Just
Right.
don't use it.
What it is.
So
Make money.
that,
Like,
and this is
right.
where we're a money making machine. We have to answer to investors to continue to pay a job. That's
That's it.
fine. You and
Like,
I see that. You and I
right.
understand that. But the moment you say we're Ohana and then you lay people off, they then say, well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. No, it's so our brains cannot compute it. Like, and
It
honestly,
can't
like
compete because
it,
inconsistency. The
it's right.
inconsistency is going to throw off our loop, and when it does that, it basically stuns us and say, well, it's not something I can understand. If it's something I can understand, I cannot connect. If I can't connect, I cannot belong. If I don't belong, I don't feel that good feelings or positive feeling that you and I understand. Look at our time with company, right? My time with company, my time with Texas A&M. That these these feelings and these memories I have, the experience I have, is always going to be the memories I have, even to the day I die. Because
Right.
you and I can talk about company, right? You and I can go ahead and maybe we saw David, we saw Blake, we saw Zach and Amber at some distance 10 years from now, right?
Right.
I still would be able to connect with them just as I did like 2 3 years ago,
Of
because
course.
what we understand was a solid foundation, right? A Marine, once he retired, you saw him a Marine. There's a level of respect and honor for one another. When you see another Aggie, you shake his hand, right? And you will say, whatever it is. To me, this is why the coach is so important. Like for example, if you meet another Marine meet another Marine, right? Whether he's retired or he's older and younger, there is a level of respect for one another and level of honor for one another. Same thing with Texas A&M with Aggies. Most, like 99% of all Aggies, like you go, you say, hey, I see you have a class ring, you're an Aggie class or whatever, you can ask him for anything and he'll help you out.
Right.
And that's what an Aggie does, right? So that's the same thing. Is once you have that solid understanding and it doesn't it violates the trust that you have in the belief that you believe in, then that foundation stand and it stands strong. Inconsistency in your saying and in what you do, then it
Yep.
collapses quickly. It
100%. Yeah.
unravels
And
instantly.
it never existed. Like, I mean, culture is supposed to be the most powerful thing that we can collectively use together. Like, this is something that I just cannot fathom at this stage of my life right now, is how we're probably in the weirdest time in human history, where this is probably the first time in human history that such powerful cultures of hundreds of thousands of people that are uniting around a particular cause could be gone and like that. It's
Yeah,
like,
snap of
Google,
fingers is gone.
Google could get acquired tomorrow by Apple. Is that now Google? Is that, what the fuck is that? I don't know. And poof, it's gone. They shed all the talent, the people that started all this stuff, or maybe it just disappears off the face of the earth. Maybe Lessonly no longer exists anymore. It just got rolled up and absorbed into another company. It doesn't exist. It's gone. Those 250 people that put 10 years of blood, sweat, and work into whatever they did and really found purpose, it's just gone. Just like never existed, It's like that starter that Max Yoder built, he could probably go try to recreate it. I don't know. But that starter's gone. The starter that was built for Lessonly, like that, all they had to do was just keep cultivate, keep nurturing it,
This
keep
is
it
why the
alive,
seventh
right?
generation
Like,
Iroquois is such an important committee, because
right.
that's what you're doing. Is you have to make sure
We're
that what
nurturing
you
our
say
starter.
is what you do, and you don't violate the core beliefs that you have.
Right.
Because you think about it, let's say we say, well, we're about balance, and you keep doing that. It's like,
You're
okay,
like, what are you doing, man? Yeah,
right,
like,
you
yeah,
are no longer credible,
right.
right? You can say, well, the thing is, I can do this 1,000 times, but the moment I didn't do it, then my credibility went out the window,
Yep.
and
Or
that is
or the moment that you and I go, hey, let's turn this into something for money. Let's go charge people to go put them through the quest and see, let's make some money out of this or something like that. And let's try to turn the quest into this profit generating thing where we recruit people in and we do all this other stuff and we turn them in, turn them out, and somebody's going to stick, somebody won't stick. I don't really care. We'll take their money. If they don't like it, they can, it is what it is.
The thing is, what we do is what we have to understand and agree on. Because the thing is, if you say, well, we're doing this for a charity, and then you're going to charge people and you make a profit of it, then that's going to collapse your culture. But if you say, well, we're going to charge people because we want to charge people, it doesn't collapse. I mean, you just have to understand what it is that you believe. Right. As a member of company, it is whatever you believe. I also have to believe.
Yep.
Right. And what we believe is what we do. Right. And what we do, what we say, what we do is exactly aligned. Then the culture will be strong. But the moment that it's shifted, it's a crack in the foundation. And that's why you always want to maintain the foundations of your culture. That's why the 7th generation Aircore committee, it is such an important committee, because you have to go back to say, well, okay, I had an idea for a business. Does this fit with our belief, with our culture? Because if you're telling me to go eat a frog, I'm no longer with you, Chris. I'm sorry, but because you have told me that we don't eat a frog, we don't want for trains, and I believe in it, and I am like so excited to go to these podcasts and talk about beaver must dam, painter must paint, writer must write. We don't want for train all around downhill. And the moment you say, well, that's nothing.
It's time to eat some frogs. Yeah, we got to make some money. We got to pay the investors.
Do you think the next episode that we're gonna have is I'm gonna be on the same level as you?
No, not at all.
It's not.
You shouldn't be.
It's not. I mean, and it's exactly because it just violates everything that we believe, because whatever we believe has to be consistent in our head for us to be connected. Meaningful relationship belongs in that belief. If I would say this object is green and you see it's red, you and I don't have a culture.
I agree.
To me, that is so fundamental.
Well, the weirdest part about the business world is you might say it's green and I might say it's green, but some random dude that we've never met before is like, no, guys, that's red.
Then we kick him out because he's going.
No, you can't kick him out, because that's what an investor is. They just say, you think it's green, I think it's green, and then somebody else is like, no, you're both wrong.
This is where it collapsed.
It's
where it collapsed because you have disparity. This is why for companies, like, if you think we're crazy, get along.
Fine, get out of here. Like,
move along.
If you don't think it's green,
I don't need you.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
If I'm telling you this is green and you say it's red, move along.
Yeah. I mean,
it's fine.
Exactly.
You can think whatever you want, and I can think what I want. If you think it's green, well, come join us.
Exactly.
I don't care.
No one's ever going to tell us.
It's like, hey, is the Earth flat or is it round? I don't care. There's a round Earth club and there's a flat Earth club. Pick one.
Exactly. As long as you believe in it, right?
You will have a time of your life. Right? The moment you believe in the Earth is flat and you belong to that club, you feel you belong to it, and you have the greatest time of your life. You have meaningful. You have meaningful life, meaningful relationship, meaningful work, whatever that you do, right? You just pick one, but you don't mix it the two. Say, hey, this guy, believes in the Earth is round. This guy believes in Earth is flat. But they go to the same school or they had the same nanny, whatever. That doesn't work because you collapse that culture.
Right.
That's why for me, as far as one of the member of company, if you don't believe in the core value of company, I invite you to go move along.
So
I'm not here to convince you of anything.
That's when the culture is pure, though, and that's when it works, right? And that's when it can be long-term sustainable. As long as you get the starter right and you continue to cultivate it, and somebody is around, multiple people are around that understand how that starter began and can nourish that starter and maintain it, to make sure that it has the ability to spread.
Right? Committee.
We maintain the starter for the sourdough bread. We don't make sourdough bread. Somebody else can make sourdough bread.
We just say, hey, this is a piece of culture. Go make bread with it.
Exactly. Going back to the Salesforce example, I'm a Salesforce employee, and I say, this is the Ohana, and this is our values. you're a Salesforce employee and you say, this is the Ohana and this is our values. And we both say, all right, I'm in it. I'm in it. And then some random investor pops in and was like, sorry guys, like it's not the Ohana today. This is a business today. We got to make money. You two are both out. Everybody else is in. And then you're looking around the room and everybody's like, I thought it was the Ohana.
Basically,
like,
you yank the rug from under their feet.
Right. Ohana, like, I mean, it's been like a running joke on, and I actually feel like really bad because like I've experienced this already in my career, so like this is, and I'm not saying that other people haven't. I'm not saying they're naive, they're stupid, or they don't understand this stuff.
I think
like,
it's about the
dupe them. Yeah.
It's about the factor of fact, okay? Because the thing is, people believe because the people that you work with believes it. So
Right.
in the smaller group,
It hurts.
you believe in the Ohana, but then some bigger group comes in and say, well, whatever you guys did, stop it.
Right.
Right.
It hurts so bad.
So it's not about whether you're stupid or not. It's no, you experience the real culture because for some of the people among the thousands of employees of Salesforce believe in the core concept of Ohana,
Right.
and they want to take that and they form. And because let's say you and I belong to the same department, and you and I say, hey, I got you, Chris, and Chris, you got me, right? We form
you're gone tomorrow.
Ohana,
yeah.
And that's a factor within a company. But the thing is, the factor has to be exactly the same from a small group to a bigger group. But the bigger group doesn't believe in Ohana. The small group can't exist. It cannot sustain it. That's why I told you the Marine, right? A group of 3 people, to a squad, to a company, to a battalion, to a corps, right? They do the exact same thing without fail. They believe in the exact same thing without fail. So you can take any random group of Marines, right? They believe in exactly the same thing. Big group is exactly like the same group, and small groups are big.
And the only way that the Marines can go away is if the United States goes away. And I'm not saying that we're not going to ever go away, but it's probably a long, long way away. It's a lot more sustainable than like the United States is founded on its own principles and culture and ideas and things like that. Like it's not founded on money and growth. Nobody's going to come in from the outside and say, United States, you guys don't get to exist today. Like, sorry, like you didn't turn enough EBITDA, or you didn't turn enough GDP.
Right, because you think about quarter. Like even
California,
you look at the Greeks, for example, right? The Spartans,
right?
They have a culture, but because the country doesn't exist anymore, the culture they can't exist. Spartan has a culture, right? They believe in exactly the same thing. Everyone, you can ask any child, woman, or man what a Spartan culture is. They will tell you what it is, and they say, "What is my profession?"
Right.
They'll tell you, "I'm a fucking soldier. I'm not a miller. I'm not a gravesman. I'm a fucking soldier." Everyone will tell you that. They have a culture, but they don't exist anymore because their country doesn't exist. I mean, the same thing with the Marine. If the United States doesn't exist anymore, then yeah, Marine won't exist and it dissipates. But for the most part, if a culture stays without the external influence to topple them, right, it will last. The 7th generation Iroquois will ensure that lasts.
Exactly.
Society in modern day is that most of the culture collapse from within.
Yeah, I know. Like it not only collapse from, they like self-sabotage themselves. Like, I mean, it's like, what are you doing? Just stick to the course. Like, just don't change Salesforce. Like, you build a great culture around great values, and you do great.
I mean, it makes money. Talk about this before, like Max Yoder, right? He created that's optimal, right? Formidable team that build Lessonly.
Right.
If investor comes in and says, I will buy Lessonly, right? Because you have the team, well, give me Lessonly and I'll get some team to do. Your team, go build me another product.
Right, exactly. You got a starter.
The investor say, hey, give me the product, I'll get someone to run it. Your team, go build me another Lessonly product, right? The investor is going to have like 10-fold, 100-fold the returns on investment easily because they don't have a successful mode that people are willing to die for each other. We're willing to sacrifice whatever it is to sacrifice to be cohesive with this team. And you go in there and you take a hammer and you smash it.
It's the starter. It's the start. You just threw it out the window. You took your sourdough starter and you're like, we made like 500 great loaves off of this bread. And you're like, man, this is great. And then you're right, you just threw it out the window. And then everybody's like, why'd you do that? You're like, just sell the bread to somebody else, or sell the factory, the bread factory to somebody else. We can go take the starter anywhere. We can go make bread anywhere. Don't kill the starter.
You're killing the golden goose.
That's the magic.
I
It has
mean,
nothing
why?
to do with
Why would an
output.
investor buys Lessonly in the first place?
Like,
Because it's making money.
right.
Well, what's making money? The
It's
team is making money.
essence,
The product, eventually you're going to use it up and it's going to go away, or things could become out of date and that is no longer valid for the market. So it's not the product, it's the team. The team, when it adjusts to the market, to the culture, to the environment, to the modern day, and it changes, it's going to build a product that people want because you have a culture, you have the starter yeast, like you said.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I can imagine the Angie's List people and my like former colleagues at Angie's List. If we would all stay together, and like now we'd all be in our late 30s. We were all so young when we started that. Most of us were young. I mean, not everybody was young at that place, but we hired a lot of young people because that was the culture. We were young, fun, growing, learning together, evolving together, and getting opportunities to do big things together as the company was scaling together. And I think like if we were all still together right now, even if Angie's List, take it away, let Angie's List become what Angie's List became. If we were to all go put our heads, yeah, I know we would have. Oh my God, we all still will follow the Bill Osterly, the old CEO at Angie's List. We will follow that guy anywhere. Like I'm sure, just like my friend with Lessonly, if Max Yoder called me tomorrow and was like, "I'm going to go start up a new business," I'm leaving. I'm there. I'm in.
Exactly.
Like,
and that's the culture.
It is. I mean, if Bill wanted to go recreate all of Angie's List and just bring the team in and say, "Hey, I have no idea what we're going to build, but do you guys want in?" Like, yeah, I would do it. I mean, I would follow that guy. I loved every minute of working in that place, for the most part, until it became a nightmare, and after Bill left, and and then everything crumbled. But like, except for the ending, like the beginning, most of it, like loved every minute of it. I wish I would have known my own self a little bit more, when I was in that environment. But like I learned more than I could have ever imagined learning in that environment, and I'll never forget the people that I worked with. I mean, some of those people are become some of my closest friends, and like I haven't found that in any other company I've ever worked at. Like, I mean, I've met friends along the way, but like it's not the same. Like, Salesforce is already a way more mature culture when I got there, like way more mature. It wasn't
right. Yeah.
It wasn't this
Salesforce culture is not cohesive.
No, it wouldn't.
Department to another department, they have different core beliefs.
Right. Well,
de facto.
The core beliefs of Salesforce was making money. Like, I mean, that's what it is, really. Like now,
but that's not what's professed.
No, not at all. I mean,
so it's not. That's what I'm saying. Your belief, right?
I'm talking about now. Like now. At one point in time, that was their culture. Like, and that's fine. But their culture now is making money. And they
is that what they say, or they still say Ohana?
No, they still say Ohana.
Like, you have to profess what you believe. I don't tell you what I believe, right? And you tell me, hey, I have a hectic day, I'm doing all this shit, and I say, okay, yeah, it's good. Even if I say, well, I don't run for trains, right? But the moment you say you have all these things, I tell you, I don't run for trains, Chris. And you say,
right.
okay,
okay, right.
I'm not going along with you. Hey,
right.
Yeah, I mean, even though I don't believe in it, right? You know what I mean? The moment that you say something is opposite of what I believe in, I'll tell you. That's why our culture is strong, because either you understand, right, and you believe, or you will say, well, I don't see it that way. So you and I discuss it, and you and I both come to the same understanding. This is why you and I have a good culture, right? This is why I'll do anything for you and you do anything for me. Same thing with me and Amber, right? I have a short time with her, probably
6 months,
but I still have this understanding from her perspective and from my perspective. If 10 years from now she were to come and ask me for help, I would help her.
Right. We need to reach out to them, actually.
It's the understanding, because if you have an understanding, but you don't tell me what you understand and what you believe in, how would I see the same thing you're seeing? I mean, it's just logic, right? How can you say that you understand me if you never tell me what you think? You never tell me what you believe in. You never tell me that, hey, I'm leaving for 2 or whatever.
I saw this picture on LinkedIn the other day of an iceberg. At the top of the iceberg was like person in the meeting that talks a lot. And then down at the bottom of the iceberg, way below the water line, it said like the quiet person in the corner that knows all the answers. And I'm like, okay, so first off, there's only one tiny portion of the whole iceberg that knows all the answers, right? Like, so I'm supposed to go dig through the needle in that haystack, to try to figure out like the one person that, because all the other 500,000 people, that iceberg, they don't know the answer. But that one person in the bottom right does know the answer, and they're quiet, and they don't talk. Like how the fuck am I ever supposed to communicate with somebody and share an idea with somebody or collaborate with somebody if they never speak a word? You know what I mean? Like I can't, like, can you
Yes.
imagine our culture if you just sat there all day long and you're like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
know all about culture, but I'm just not going to talk to you about it.
Yeah, right. The bottom line of a culture is shared beliefs and shared
It
ideas.
is. You have to
If
share.
if you don't share it, right, it's not a culture, right?
If you don't like speaking,
How
write it
can
down, but you have to communicate.
is the culture is you gotta share. I mean that you have to share. Like, tell me what it is you believe in, and I'll tell you what it is I believe in,
Right.
and we agree. We journey together, right? The second thing is be
Yeah.
consistent. If you say I don't want to train, then you don't want to train,
Right.
right? You run downhill, you run downhill. You be with Mustang, you be with Mustang. So you got to reinforce the same thing, because you look at the Marine. Go back to what I'm saying about Marine, right? They have that core belief, right? They don't ever like leave their brother behind, even if it's a corpse. They will take it home.
I assume never.
Never.
Right.
They rather sacrifice their life to get the body back.
And if they didn't do that, then everybody would go, "What the hell are we fighting for?"
Right. That's why it's not like, okay, oh, today I don't feel like it.
No.
Or today, you know what I mean? It's like
Right.
they
This is
do
what you
it
do.
all the time. You look at the Marines uniform, even their fucking uniform, it
Right.
is impeccable. There's no loose thread, there's no crease. It is perfectly shaped to the body. How they kind of fold the creases on the side, perfect. It's not like, oh, this one time or another time. It's all the fucking time. That's is what I want to stress. Is the consistency of it. It is
This
impeccable. I'm talking about a uniform.
Yeah, right. This is what I was gonna say. Like our uniform is first things first time, right? Like, do that every single day. Like that is what you put in your priority. That is your priority. That is the not urgent but important activities that feed your soul. Like that is our clean uniform every single day. You can't be a member if you don't do that. I've been telling this to my team these days through our clubany group at the company that I work at. I don't give a shit what you guys do all day long. If you don't do this, this is your priority for me. Your job is to go do what you want to do that makes you feel good every single day for at least a couple
Right.
hours in the
When you
morning.
first things
Literally,
first, right?
it's
That's
blocked off on your schedule. That is your priority. If you do that, I am very confident that you will continue to figure out
and
a way
that's
to
why
be
I
successful.
say the Marines, their mission success rate are tremendously high.
Right.
If you need somebody to bail you out, you tend to send the Marines.
Right.
Because
They're not
that's
they're
how
not thinking they're not thinking just for the moment. They're thinking, long term. This has been well thought out.
yeah, they do the first things first. They focus on perfection.
Right.
When they focus on perfection, you give them a job to do. Well, they're gonna carry it over. So
Right.
same thing with your de facto covenant members. You say, well, focus on yourself. Work harder on yourself than your job. Then your job will have a much higher success rates.
Right. And it's
Exactly.
sustainable. Right. I mean, it's not like you have to do some extraordinarily Herculean thing where I'm expecting you to go run a marathon in 2.5 hours or something like that. And you're like, oh, Chris, I did it. And I'm like, great. Can you go run tomorrow? No, because I can't move.
Again.
What's the point? I don't give a shit if you got there in 20 minutes. Like if you can't do it tomorrow, like who gives a shit? Take 6 hours. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I want you to be running forever if that's what you want to do. If you want to dam, I don't give a shit how fast you dam your river. Did you enjoy it? Was it fun? Did you go at your own pace? Did you do what you were supposed to do every single day? Is it consistent? Like you said, it's about consistency. All right, we got to put a pin in this one. I know this is a long one today, which was to be expected. It's probably one of our favorite conversations about culture.
Why we're so riled up about culture, because you and I believe in the same thing. This is why you and I, just two of us, have a culture.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, this is why the first day that we met, we said, I didn't say, I did. All right, I'll say it. I did say culture is the strategy, because I think you understood what I was trying to say at that time. Now that we go further, it's ironic where, now my title is culture is not a strategy. And I actually mean that in a similar vein, like is what we started this off as. It's just now a realization that it's like, we're not trying to build a culture to go make money. We're trying to, build a culture to build a culture. And that's it. It's not a strategy. We're just trying to build a culture. And that's it. That's it.
Culture, period.
Culture. Yeah. culture is not a strategy. It's just what we're trying to do.
No, it's culture, period.
Right, culture period. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for the fun conversation as always. And the question we can leave for everybody is, what cultures have made the biggest impacts on your unique journey? Think about those, dissect them, figure out the code behind them, and figure out the things you liked and didn't like about it, and then go make your own. I mean, that's the beauty of this world.
Somebody to belong to another culture, because
yeah.
I have the culture at Texas A&M, right? You had a culture at Angie's List, and you have a culture at Company. Think about those are the highlights of our memories.
My high school that I went to was a
So
private
build
Catholic
your
high
own,
school.
or go find another culture
Right.
that you can align with and
Yeah.
join.
It's fun. It matters. It's meaningful. It's meaningful work and meaningful relationships. So go do it. All right. Well, thanks for joining, and we will see you tomorrow night.
Good night. See you.